based on a true story, and I play Owen Chase, who is the first mate on the ship and is more than equipped in his experience to be the captain, but isn't, because he wasn't born into the birthright of that position. And there's a whole lot of animosity and conflict between him and the captain, and that leads to some interesting drama and so on, which eventually brings down the ship, I guess.
So I play Matthew Joy, who's the second mate on the ship, and I guess we all read a stack of books on this. I had actually read Moby Dick in my 20s and really enjoyed it. So, and then we went off and did like sailing school and learned how to. We didn't actually learn how to sail a ship. We learned how to tie knots. So yeah, we did a lot of work to try and lend some authenticity to it, you know.
When I read the script and realized it was based on real events, I was sold. I had to tell this story. And, so by the way, I would say to audiences, if you're not sure, take a chance. This is a real audience movie.
Ron Howard is sort of the primary appeal, I guess, you know, and I love the script, you know. It reminded me of an old-fashioned movie that I'd watch with my dad on a Sunday afternoon, you know, it reminded me of watching Mutiny on the Bounty for the first time. It was a tremendous piece of writing, and the fact that it was based on real events made it very appealing as well.
The toughest day, probably the storm sequence. It was shot here in London. It was freezing cold, and it felt like the theme park from hell. We were on a ship on all sorts of gimbals and hydraulic machines, and getting flipped out of the boats and shot with water cannons and so on. That was a little tough.
Anything around the devastation of the ship, whether we had a really harrowing storm sequence, that was challenging. When the whale attacks the Essex and actually sinks it, that was kind of shocking. You know, there were a lot of actual physical jolts and people being thrown around and waves, hitting everybody in the face, and it was pretty unsettling.
It's a big family adventure, you know. It's a unique film, and it's directed by Ron Howard, and you know that man can deliver. He can make it emotional. He gets great performances, you know, and I think people will really respond to it.